So I've got Sam. He's not behind me. He's beside me. You can't see him unless I... Actually, I can do that. I can pick up the tablet and spin it around to show you Sam. And Sam has been enjoying a parrot on YouTube called Einstein. So I just turned off the sound. I hope he doesn't get too mad about that, but he can still enjoy her lovely beauty. She's a female, and he only likes female parrots. No, but seriously, he only likes the females, which is adorable. This is a pretty little African violet. My name, Yolanda. Yeah, I know it says Anne, but Anne is part of anarchist. It was originally ANARKISSED, and then that got used up by so many people that for my YouTube I went with first one anarchist. I was mad. It was still fresh, it being happening. But then with Google I wound up coming up, actually it was for an email list that I came up with, Anne Roberta Kist. Made it look like a real name. So because this particular email list wouldn't accept memberships without real names. You weren't allowed to use pseudonyms. So there I am, a single woman at the time. I wasn't willing to put my real name out on the internet. It didn't seem wise at all, and frankly it still doesn't. So I came up with anarchist. But my name is Yolanda, and it means violet flower. Had a great time at the party last night. I forgot my phone, so there's no vlog pictures from it at all, but it's a shame because the hors d'oeuvres and desserts and the treats and the snacks and the fancy breads, nothing was casually brought. Everything was brought with thoughtfulness. It was either made to share with others, or it was, if it was purchased, it was purchased as an item of quality of, I'm going to share with you this wonderful stuff. Nobody brought, a bag of Lay's or pretzels or there was one box of chocolates, but it was a nice and unusual box of chocolates. So I thought that was pretty groovy. Interestingly enough, nobody touched the boxed chocolates. It's probably my fault because I brought my chocolate dipped marzipan balls, and there's enough chocolate in those for anybody. And it was the first time I ever dipped marzipan in chocolate, and it's not the last. I'm going to be doing a lot more of that. Wow. Next level tasty. I just love my Americano Tassimo coffee with Happy Planet Go Nuts chocolate flavored nut milk and a bit of maple syrup. So there's no dairy in it. That's good. I'm feeling so tired and worn out after last night. There was no alcohol. There was one guy drinking a beer. I'm not even sure it was a real beer. But around 10 o'clock, the joints got lit, and people got a little chattier. But it's a wonderful thing. I woke up this morning not reviewing the conversation and going, why can't I think better than to say that when I'm there? But this didn't happen. Mostly I was quiet. I had my knitting out and periodically chatted and periodically moved. Mostly I just sat in a spot and just enjoyed, being around a whole bunch of nice people and the amazing food and watching them love the food that I brought. I had these little hors d'oeuvres that I made with where I sliced a bunch of smoked turkey into very thin slices and then very narrow strips. And then I did the same thing with some jalapeno spiced Gouda using a Dutch cheese slicer. Let me grab one and show you what they look like. These things make really nice thin slices. Looks like that. And they make really thin slices. So I made really thin slices and then I cut them so that they were strips. Then I wrapped the strip of cheese like a scarf around the strip of turkey and then pinned the whole thing through a half a feta stuffed olive with a toothpick. And then added some fancy crackers. I'm the only one that ate those crackers. People were very discerning there. And that's okay. I needn't have bothered with the crackers. Now I know for next time. But, I wanted to give people the option of crackers to put under their hors d'oeuvres. It just, go back to the 60s, everybody had crackers. So yeah, it was a really nice evening. And a topic of conversation came up last night, and then it came up again this morning. And it came up around VR. I was talking about virtual reality with this young woman, and I talked about my 3D printer, and I talked about virtual reality, and these are both interesting, so I kept going. Because when I get a topic someone's interested in, I'm happy, right? I get to talk, and by now you've noticed, I really like talking. So the issue that comes up is people are saying, well, virtual reality, isn't life virtual reality? And this is an old concept. It's called existentialism. The idea that we are only a dream, that we're not real or solid, that none of this actually exists the way that we take for granted that it does. That we're just conscious mind floating in a dream. Possibly only one mind all by itself. And it came about through Buddhist philosophy, the idea of existentialism. And now, because of virtual reality, some people are starting to become quite confused and concerned that maybe they've been putting a little too much emotion into being alive. And I thought, well, that's a really good conversational topic to address on my vlog. Because it's one I've thought about a lot. I first ran into the concept of existentialism when I was only 15 years old. And it threw me into what they call an existential crisis, where I sat and thought, well, if this isn't real, this is just somebody's story that they're making up to entertain themselves in their head, and all I am is just, if I'm the person making up the story, why can't I stop it? It sucks. I hate it. I want it to stop. And if I'm not, then what is the point of continuing? And either way, how do I get off this planet? I was an unhappy young woman. And learning that all the sorrow, and that's the interesting thing. One of the major things that was making me unhappy was awareness of the unhappiness of others. Save the Children, UNICEF, starving people in Africa. At the time, African famines were very big in the news. Now we've got the Syrian war refugees that are very big in the news. And we've, just today, there's a Japanese city mourning after a massive fire. There's a Mexican city mourning after a massive explosion with fireworks market. So there's a lot of sadness, sorrow, and pain out there, and I was becoming aware of it at that point in my life. And then I run into this idea that none of this is real. I remember lying on my couch listening to MacArthur's Park. It's a song from the 60s, and it was playing on the easy listening radio station. It was now the late 70s. MacArthur's Park is melting in the dark. All the sweet green icing flowing down. Melting. Anyway, it talks about how it took so long to bake it, and he just doesn't know if he can take it. And I wish I could sing it for you, but I can't remember it well enough. But you can look it up. It's on YouTube. I love this 21st century stuff. So we're talking about virtual reality, and isn't life virtual reality? And I've thought a lot about it, and I've come finally to grips back around with it. Another, if you like to read books, I highly recommend a series of novels by Carlos Castaneda about Don Juan, and one of them is Journey to Ixtlan. Doesn't matter. Just look up Carlos Castaneda. There's a book of 7 in this series where he relates what he says is a true story. And, whether it was true or not, there's been a lot of argument, and he's both said it was true and that it was not true. But it has a ring of truth and of fantasy at the same time. And this, he went to Mexico, ran into a Yaqui Indian shaman who, using hallucinogenics, brought him to a greater understanding of the energy underpinnings of the universe, that this is all a dream. You, me, and the parrot are all bits of consciousness floating in an energy soup and creating from that energy soup the reality in which we live. And I believe that this is true. I believe that all of the other philosophies and religions that we use and follow and are simply part of that interpretation, a way of putting a handle on it. When you have, we used to have these pots that were designed for oven, microwave, and stovetop. Cornell did them, and they were made of a type of glass, and they didn't come with a handle. You had to have a separate handle that you put on the pot when you wanted to pick it up. And to me, that's what all of these other philosophies are. They're handles you put on the pots so that you can handle them. Because the pot's too hot. The light's too bright. You need your disco ball to look at it. And especially for me as a 14 or 15-year-old, whatever I was, the truth, I couldn't handle the truth. You want the truth? You can't handle the truth. You know, we all love to quote that movie. And sometimes we can't handle the truth. And philosophers, Buddhists, and enlightened people, they can handle the truth. And the way they handle it is by sticking it on the shelf. It's on the altar. It's on the shelf. It's on the mantelpiece. It's in pride of place, but it's not being carried around all day. It's given a place of honor and dignity and stuck there, and then you dive back into this reality. And that's the point I'm making. No, it's not real, but yes, it's important. It's incredibly important. And it's good to remember that it's not real for those times when you start to really panic. It can give you comfort. It can help you cope. To go, it's okay. None of this is actually real. I'm here to figure out how to deal with this situation. I'm not here to be here because this is all there is. I'm here to be here because this is important and I need to experience it. And I mean, that's how I'm coping with what's going on with me. These are experiences I'm here to have. And I can't have the experience of what it's like to go through cancer. I can't learn what I'm learning at the clinic any other way. I'm not a health professional to go dive in. I'm not a social worker to go dive in. I'm not clergy. I can't pick up these experiences vicariously from the people involved in them. I pick them up from being in them. And the gifts that it gives me, the gifts of strength, the gifts of pain tolerance, the gifts of being cared for by others. Oh my God. I still come to tears when I think about the kindnesses that people have been giving me and the years of unkindness washing away. And people are being kind to me. Just, wow. And I'm angry about it too, because they should have been kind to me before. In my mind, you should be kind to everybody, not just people with cancer. Well, all of a sudden now I'm magically in the category of people you're nice to, and that's like, it's wonderful that people are nice to me, but it's also infuriating that they're not just nice to each other. Okay, bit of a digression. Virtual reality. Who is the mind that's dreaming all of this? There's a lovely question. That comes down to an interesting idea of mine. I didn't originate it. I've done a lot of reading. People say, where do you get this stuff? Well, I don't forget things. So if I read it or I see it in a video, it stays in my head. And the only way that it gets out of my head is when I get evidence from reading something else or watching something else that has more authority or more solidity or more connection with previous data and says to me, this bit of information in your head, this isn't real. Then I throw it out. And existentialism just keeps coming back. There's this energy that animates the atoms. You know, they talk about dark matter. They talk about the spaces between matter. That's an energy force. That force of energy is all that's real. That is the only reality that is. And it has conscious thought. Just like you have. You can't figure out how the heck all the little neurons in your brain and the energy firing between them create the Eunice that you think of as me. But you know that it's working, and it does. Well, so too does your mind join with my mind, join with Sam's mind, join with the dog Timmy's mind, join with Mr. Gouldian's mind, and even the essence and awareness of self that exists within this beautiful, plants are lovely, aren't they? This beautiful little plant. We are one. God is immanent, eminent, part of. That's why in so many religions they keep talking about how it's bigger than all of us. You can't fathom it all. It's everywhere, all the time. It's in your heart. It's outside of you. It's in his heart. It's part of us all because we are part of it. Because it is the energy between the particles. That is what the reality is. particles are selected and sorted to create this incredible movie, this virtual reality that we share. And we share it by agreement, and we share it by connection and connectivity. And we are all pieces of one mind that's having this incredible dream. And this dream is going through every iteration of experience that can possibly exist. If there is a way to, and I know that I've talked about this before. So when you put on those when you put the headset on and you dive into your virtual reality, and you're sitting there and you're going, wow, man, it's so real. Oh my goodness. What if life isn't real? Bingo. That doesn't mean it doesn't matter. They say that the Sorcerers Paradox, and this comes from Carlos Castaneda and some other reader that I really loved and can't remember. The Sorcerer's Paradox is in accepting that the world isn't real, but that it is as important as it ever was. To be in the world, but not of it. To dive into it and be in it. Be there. Be now. Just like a moviegoer at the, or a play, or an audience member at a play. Dive in. Be part of it. When you go to a play, a ballet, a movie, or you sit down and listen to someone tell a story, you are suspending your disbelief. You know it's not really happening right now, but the storyteller can't give you the story, and you can't properly enjoy it unless you suspend your disbelief and agree to dive in with him. And so too the great storyteller. Dreaming this great dream requires you to put aside and put it on the shelf your knowledge that this isn't real, because it's important. There is no reality except the awareness of where you are and who you are and what you're doing right now. And why would you bother getting born if not to live that and experience that and be that? Why would any of us even come into existence if it wasn't important? You wouldn't be here if it didn't matter. So put your whole heart into it. But when your heart is breaking, remember, look up at the altar, the mantelpiece, the pride of place, the shelf. Look up. Oh yes, say to yourself, this isn't real. It's okay. It doesn't matter if I live or die tomorrow. It doesn't matter if I fail my responsibilities. It only matters that I put every last part of my heart into it and did my level best. That's what matters. That you did your level best to stay light, to stay true, to stay loyal, to stay loving. The rest of it, let it go. Really, you can let it go. Because the universe is taking care of itself. You do what you're supposed to do. Worry about things, care about things, but don't let them drive you into an existential suicidal crisis, because the universe will look after itself in the long run. Even through all of the sorrow and crying, there comes a sunrise, and it's just as beautiful as the last one, even though the day to follow may be as ugly as the last one. And it's okay. You're here. Now, in the last minute, I want to tell you, I have finally decided how I'm going to handle this channel. I'm going to try and vlog twice a week after the new year, after Vlogmas is over. And at random times, probably about twice a year, I'm going to do a giveaway. Yes! I am going to, at the end of my video, randomly, without telling you which one it is, unless you check the tags, because I'll be tagging them as a giveaway, I'm going to give something away. The thing I give away could be a hand-painted 3D object like this, or it could be something groovy and used that I'm not going to be taking with me on the bus. I'll probably keep this. I really like it. But it's an example, like Halloween decorations that I've got too many of, or it could be, a lot of it's going to be 3D printed items. It could, an artwork, but it might be a teapot. I don't know. I don't know what I'm going to give away. I've got so much stuff that I don't feel like yard sailing. it'll be worth the postage at least, and it'll be free to you. And the instructions on how to be the winner will be included. If there's more than one of the same thing, I will give them away at the same time, and I'll pick more than one winner. If there's only one thing, the way I'm going to pick it is I will give you instructions to follow, having to do with subscribing, liking, and leaving a comment. And the people who have done that, and if you're already subscribed, no biggie. That's as long as you are a subscriber and you like the video and you make the comment that I ask at the end of the video, then I'll put your name in a hat and draw a winner. And if you're the only one, you will be the only winner. So cheers to you. Keep an eye opener, keep watching, or move that little needle all the way near the end to find out what the prizes are and if this video has a prize or not. And I'll see you tomorrow. And no, giveaways won't be tomorrow. They won't be starting tomorrow. There will be a giveaway soon, and then there will be giveaways probably twice a month starting in January. And they'll just be little things. Okay, bye-bye.